Hi, this is Ina John.
Here is the same introduction of me, so if you want to skip it, about a minute.
Ina John. I am an anklebone alignment specialist and podiatrist. I am going to talk everything about the foot, the cause of the foot deformities and pain, and how to get rid of that cause, and how the foot is affecting the alignment of the entire body structure. Here's my short background. I majored in physical therapy. However, I became a Disney animator, yes, for Disney, and worked on 15 movies. You can Google my name and see all the movies I had worked on. Animators know how to analyze movement with weight and ground reaction force, which the foot has to handle every day. And also, animators catch every subtle movement in order to draw out natural movement for the big screen. With that skill, I found out subtle movement in the joint I am going to talk about. And also, I analyze foot structure and its mechanics from the animator's viewpoint. So it's quite different from the other sources, and it's going to be easy to understand and make sense. So let's start. Today, let's talk about how to stand and walk correctly. We are all standing and walking, but are we standing and walking correctly? Is there such a thing, standing and walking correctly? If you know how our foot is constructed and how our body stands on it, you can figure out how to stand and walk correctly by yourself without me explaining. So let's start. See, here's the foot, and foot can be divided by two parts, arch and the toes. On the arch, our body stands, and in front of arch, toes are. But we can move our toes, and the joints that stands on top of the arch, we can move. So we know there are joints. But how about right here? It doesn't look like it's moving. And foot has two functions, the weight bearing and walking. If you see the foot bone model, we have joints on the toes, and on top of the arch, we have our whole body structure stands with so many joints. But no one really knows how this arch is constructed for weight bearing. So let me show you. Again,
Voila!
So this is the tarsal joint that forms the arch on top of the foot. And this joint is a group of small joints, as you can see. It looks like 3D puzzle, and involves 12 foot bones, 7 tarsal bones right here. These are all 7 tarsal bones and 5 metatarsal bones. And one of them is ankle bone on which the body stands. And this arch can be divided by half right here, sideways. The high medial arch and the low lateral arch. As you can see, high medial arch started with ankle bone. So there are 8 bones making this high medial arch. So I call this group of bones as the ankle bone group. So ankle bone group, 8 of them, forms the high medial arch. And lateral arch is starting from heel bone. So heel bone and cuboid and 2 metatarsal bones are making lateral low arch. But as you can see, our leg bone stands on the ankle bone. So the weight falls on the medial arch. Under the arch is the thick plantar muscle. This is under the medial arch is thicker than the lateral arch. So this muscle works as a cushion to cushion the body weight that falls on the arch. And this arch is meant to be supported to fulfill its weight-bearing function without falling. And it used to be the soft soil when we were walking on the soft soil with barefoot. And now on this flat, hard floor, we need to use orthotics for arch to carry out its weight-bearing function without falling. And the orthotics should align the both ankle bones at the same height. And you don't fall. Even though you have a lot of weight, then our body can stand correctly with alignment from the feet up. However, we need to make sure our body weight falls on the medial arch. This can be done by pulling your knees above the medial arch.
Or stand with feet wide apart.
And as I said, the leg bone stands on the ankle bone, which is the part of the medial arch. So anatomically, our body stands on the medial arch. So that is where we should stand with thicker plantar muscle. But mechanically, our brain can make us to stand on the heel and lateral arch and medial arch and ball of the foot and even on the toes. And sometimes we need to stand on these other parts of the foot rather than the medial arch. But after whatever the task is done, we need to go back to stand on the medial arch because the other parts of the foot, other than the medial arch right here, they are not designed to handle our entire body weight all the time. So standing correctly means standing on the medial arch with orthotics that aligning both ankle bones at the same height. Without the correct orthotics, there is no way we can stand correctly with alignment from the feet up. And with Anklebone Alignment Test, we can find the correct orthotics. If you haven't watched the video about how to find the correct orthotics with Anklebone Alignment Test, it's out there on YouTube. The Anklebone Alignment Test can verify if anything we put on our feet, the orthotics, shoes, socks, and cushions are all working together for the ankle bone alignment.
Now let's talk how to walk correctly.
And after our body stands correctly with correct orthotics, we can walk correctly. And as you can see, walking is done by ankle joint on top of the arch and the joint in front of the arch. So when we walk, these two joints are moving, not the tarsal joint. And walking involves entire body joints that stands on the foot. So how it starts at the foot affects the way we walk. Anyways, when we walk, each step involves the entire body weight passing through the tarsal joint. And walking is done by stance phase and swing phase. Stance phase is when the foot stays on the ground with the entire body weight passing through the arch. And swing phase is when the foot goes into the air without any weight. So in the stance phase, the body weight should pass through the medial arch, not the lateral arch. Then you are walking correctly. Though occasionally we need to move our body weight through the lateral arch to achieve something, but whatever the task is done, we should come back and pass our body weight through the medial arch. Then we can walk with comfort and ease for long distance. Also, it takes a shorter time to make a step because passing our body weight straight through the medial arch is much faster than passing through the lateral arch like this. Here are some tips to walk on the medial arch with correct orthotics. So when walking with shoes, so let's put this, do not touch the ground with lateral arch first because most of people are walking like this. So rather try to put the shoe bottom parallel to the ground like this. So as long as when you hit the ground, the weight falls onto the medial side, that's good. And bending the knees straight to the second toe would help the weight to pass through the medial arch. And developing a sense at the bottom of the foot regarding the weight distribution can help you to stand and walk correctly. The reason we need to focus on standing and walking on the medial arch is that unconsciously, most people have been standing and walking on the lateral arch to minimize the falling of the tarsal joint because no orthotics. So it's deeply programmed in our brain, so it takes time to change that old habit. So practice, practice, practice.
So dog feet, pigeon toeing, tiptoeing, no walking, keep the body weight away from the medial arch. No good.
However, about 20% of people instantly walk correctly with correct orthotics.
Yay, those people are good to go.
So without the correct orthotics, how confidently you are standing and walking, each step you make, the tarsal joint falls. So we are standing and walking without the alignment from the feet up, and most likely limping too, because usually both tarsal joints fall in different degrees and angles and make one leg shorter than the other. So today we learned how to stand and walk correctly. It needs correct orthotics that aligning the both ankle bones at the same height. That's a no-brainer. And after that, we need to stand and walk on the medial arch. By positioning your knees right above the medial arch can make you stand on the medial arch. And also developing a sense at the bottom of the foot will help you to stand correctly with your body weight on the medial arch. And I used to ask people this question. So, what is walking? How would you describe walking? And most people are dumbfounded to answering this question. Yeah, we are all walking, but it's kind of hard to explain. Some people say, what do you mean? What kind of question is that? And or some people say, what do you mean? Walking is just walking. And I remember one orthopedic surgeon said, Ina, are you asking me what is walking? That is like asking me what is life. And he walked away. And yet, another person who was severely limping, even with $800 custom orthotics, but unfortunately, that orthotics misaligned his ankle bones worse than nothing. And he said, Ina, life is all about walking. And I was so moved when he said, I could not even approach to a girl because of the way I walk. And here are some videos to show you the correct walking and wrong walking.
See, lateral side of the foot touches the ground first. Wrong walking. Whole foot bottom touches the ground at the same time. Correct walking.
And in next video, I will show you how sensitive our bottom of the foot is with subtle change of the weight distribution. You will be surprised. So bye for now.
I published a couple books with many drawings for easy understanding, so you can check them out on Amazon.
I can't stop.